right, it looks like we have our first question here from Hallie. It says, hello from Toronto, Canada. I'm wondering if Jungle Scout pulls data from Canada's market. I was checking product database for Canada's market using different categories, but only a few records came up, which I found very odd.
So yes, Jungle Scout supports all of North America, the EU, and India. Canada in general is going to have way less products on Amazon.ca. So the result of that is there's going to be a lot of less products in our product database. But yes, it does support Canada.
Rob has the next question asking, will there be an advanced PPC module? And I can answer that. Absolutely, Rob. We're going to continue to update the Freedom Builder Bootcamp. And as a member, you get lifetime access. So it's one of the beauties of being a member is that you will have lifetime access to the Facebook group, whereas you can imagine you can go in and drop any questions you may have, as well as the monthly live coaching sessions, and as well as all the advanced material that we come up with, including PPC.
All right. Asha said, I'm just getting started wanting to do COVID-19 products, which I found in Alibaba, but the shipping is more expensive than the product. Is this common? In general, is it common for shipping to be more expensive than the product itself? No, that's usually more unlikely. That being said, shipping's just a little bit weird right now because a lot of the ocean freight isn't set up. The result of that is a lot more air freight. And because of that, air freight prices are higher than they are normal. But I think that's kind of something you have to take into account if you're trying to rush something really quick to sell one of these products that are really hot because of COVID. You probably have to expect to pay more.
All right, let's see what's the next question here. Rob is asking, can you add negative target ASINs in auto campaigns? You can. You always want to be careful when using negative keywords in your campaigns. You definitely want to always use negative exact. Stay away from using phrase negative keywords because then you could wipe out several different good performing keywords for you. So, and including ASIN. So I would just use negative exact whenever applying those. Okay, Hale asks, I was taking the course, but a big gap happened due to COVID situation. I have not launched any product yet. Would you recommend to start or still hold on the plan? I would recommend, there's no better day than today. The next best day was yesterday, right? So I don't think that there's any problem with, you definitely want to continue and you want to be able to launch a product as soon as possible. These are, as you can imagine right now, everyone is resorting to purchasing online. So there will be some hiccups. There will be some challenges due to the current environment, possibly with suppliers, and there may be delays. So that's why getting started now, you could kind of be at the front of the line before it's just kind of bottlenecks.
Yeah, sales on Amazon right now are up 20, 30, 40%. So in general, sales on Amazon are very elevated right now. So it's a great time to be selling. Nobody can predict the future, but if I were to try, I would guess that sales are going to stay inflated on Amazon long term, because I think this is going to be like a shift in the overall purchasing behavior, and those individuals that were more hesitant to adopt e-commerce or to sign up for that Prime account, these people are now doing it because they can't go into a lot of the stores or they're worried about going to the stores. So yeah, it's a fantastic time right now to start.
Max asks, Amazon still not allowing shipments to FBA for new listings since there is no sale history.
Amazon's allowing shipments for almost all products now. There are still a few, maybe ones like there's where there's no sales history, but I'm guessing within the next few days, essentially if you think about over the past month, if we started a month ago, they were restricting all shipments except for a few that were definitely essentials. And then really they said they were going to remove that on April 5th, but instead what we found out that they did was they kind kind of like slowly started allowing more and more and more and more and more. Now it's to the point where they're allowing like 95% of products or more. So like I can only imagine it's a few days before they even allow for brand new products or yeah.
All right. Rob's asking if PPC keywords are performing well, do you suggest to raise the bid? That would definitely any keywords that are performing well for you. You want to do it incrementally because you also you want to be mindful that you don't want to pay too much over time. So I would increase it because there's no harm in being the one that wins the bid, right? You always want to win the bid so that your ads, so that your product's being displayed. So there's no harm with doing that. Just be mindful. Don't increase it by too much.
All right. Let's see here. Haley says, how come Canada's market is so bad? I wouldn't say that it's so bad. What it is they, I mean, if you think about it, it only has like 10% of the population as the US. So same thing, like it's kind of like the Amazon store there is like 10% the size of the one in the US. I think it's purely based off of just how much purchasing behavior there is in Canada versus the US, primarily because of the population.
All right. Looks like we skipped over a couple questions here.
Oops.
No, you're good. Wanishette says, hey guys, I'm having a hard time on how to find suppliers on Jungle Scout. Is there a trick to it?
Yeah, I think there are some tricks to it. Maybe it'd be beneficial if I just do like a quick demo on how I go about doing it. How's that sound?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I think that.
Cool. So I'm inside of Jungle Scout right now. Obviously, if I go to suppliers inside of our supplier database, quick overview, the data that's
able to. Sorry to interrupt you, Greg. Are you able to share your screen or?
Yeah, it's being shared right now
Okay,
with the Facebook group. Yeah. The data that's in here is taken from the import records. When anyone imports something into the US, okay? So these are like any goods that get imported into the US, we have kind of like, we keep track of that in here. So one way you can go about doing it is just by searching a keyword, right? So I'm searching keyword or backpack right now. I can see, hey, these are the customers that are purchasing backpacks from this factory right here. And it's cool because you can see a whole bunch of the like big customers, right? So that's one way to go about doing it. My favorite way to go about doing it though is by finding the top selling product on Amazon. So like if I go to Amazon and I am looking for marshmallow sticks. This is a product that I sell. A lot of y'all know about this. This doesn't always work, but what you can do is you can search for the company that makes these, all right? So I would say this works maybe like half or 3/4 of the time, but like this company right here, it's called MoloMe. And if I go into here and I search by their company, I can actually do MoloMe. It's actually smart. Jungle Scout's smart enough to tell me that actually their legal entity name, it probably isn't MoloMe, it's probably Truthful Trading. So I can click on that. And then I can see what kind of products that they're purchasing. So if I go in here, it doesn't look like I see any marshmallow sticks on this page, but let me filter through a little bit more. And what I'm looking at here is the shipment descriptions. So it seems like at least from this particular factory, they're primarily ordering clothes. But what I can do is I can go through and I can look at each of these and I can try to look for who they're purchasing. Let's see, this one says, so this is like the information that they fill out directly on there. So sometimes it's like a little bit messy to read, but you can kind of read through it and see who their factory probably is. So it's pretty cool. Like I said, it doesn't work all the time because some sellers are able to hide this by using like a different legal entity to import their goods, or like they use their freight forwarder's address or whatever else. But in general, like if I find like the top 3 rated products on Amazon, I'm almost always able to find at least one of those 3 factories. And then that's how you can go about finding the factory.
Excellent. Looks like the next question is from Rob. He's asking, should I place my main keywords in its own campaigns? And the answer to that is yes. You want to create a campaign of an exact match campaign. Now, I wouldn't say for your, let me back up a little bit, not your main keyword, because that's going to be fairly broad. It might be like Greg was giving the example of like marshmallow bamboo sticks, right? It might be bamboo sticks. That's going to be very broad. And what you want that to do is for that to generate new keywords, and those keywords that from your reports, you can actually take and put those into an exact, because you know that that exact word, it might be like long bamboo sticks, right? Then you know, and that one is consistently making you sales, then you want to take that keyword and put it into an exact match campaign, because now you have a keyword that's going to perform well for you over time, and you can manage it a little easier, manage that particular keyword.
All right.
And then looks like Rama has the next question. There are some products in Jungle Scout, the seasonality is not available. Can I still go for a product like that?
Yeah, you absolutely can. And I think what you're referring to is specifically the seasonality inside of the opportunity finder. Now, to give you a little bit more background of how the seasonality in there is created, it's for that particular keyword or very similar keywords. So what happens from time to time is that it is either a relative, or it's either not that popular or a particular keyword. That doesn't mean it's not a popular niche. It probably just means that people are purchasing it or finding it based off of other keywords. So that's one potential for that. The other one is if it's a relatively new keyword, then we don't have like a year's worth of data. So for example, I just did opportunity finder, like at the top, it was masks N95. On this particular example, of course, N95 masks are extremely popular right now due to COVID. And what happened is the search volume for masks N95 would have been really low historically. So we don't have like a year's worth of solid search volume data, because before that it was essentially too low that it didn't even register. And I can kind of like see that on here. Let me just show you again real quick. So, if it has less than, I think, 5 searches per week, it's not even enough to register kind of like in our system or the way that we calculate this. So that I can see in January, it got up to 37. So this is like when COVID started to become known, say like in the China region. So people started to search for this. And then of course, in the middle or end of March is when this particular search term peaked. But yeah, so what's going on here is that there wasn't enough search volume historically in over a year for us to determine seasonality like over time.
All right. Hallie asks, excuse me, does Amazon still ship? If you're referring to like through FBA, then yes. I'm not sure if I follow the question entirely. Do you happen to have any insight on that, Greg?
It says, does Amazon ship? I'm guessing what you're referring to in this situation is Amazon shipping the non-essential items? And like if you go on their website, what you'll see is probably like it changes every day, but let's call it right now, roughly half of the items have long ship times. So like where we're used to getting everything in a day or 2 or maybe 3 days max, right now there's some items that say like they aren't being shipped until like May 17th or whatever it was. So you can still order all the items. They'll still ship all the items, but the items that they're deeming as like non-essential, they're holding off to ship. But what I personally actually found is I've been ordering a ton of stuff off Amazon lately. And like actually on Friday, I ordered a new stand for my laptop, and it said it wasn't going to ship until like May 10th. And then it ended up arriving on Monday. So it's like it seems like they're kind of just doing that to like set expectations lower or give them some buffer zone for like when they really get these huge spikes of sales. And then it seems like they're actually shipping a lot of them faster than what they're saying. But I also know Amazon just sent out an email this morning to all sellers that a lot of people probably saw the headlines like a month ago that they were hiring 100,000 extra workers, warehouse workers in the US alone. And it said something like 70,000 of those had already been hired. It's like they're definitely like ramping up production pretty fast. And that it's still the craziest thing for me. Like, oh, look, we're going to put out 100,000 job openings and hire 70,000 people in 3 weeks. Like, that's the craziest thing to me.
Yeah, and they do it.
I know, it's nuts. It just shows like how big of a beast it is. It also shows how elevated demand is on Amazon right now, that they need 100,000 extra workers to be able to fulfill all the goods from the orders that everyone's placing. It's nuts. It's the craziest
Also,
thing.
how efficient and like well-oiled a machine Amazon is. I mean, that's just insane.
I know. It's nuts.
So let's see. There was a follow-up to that. She mentioned that I mean through FBA, and so you answered that. Same. I that's all I do. I rarely leave my house, and so like all my stuff is coming through Amazon. So they're definitely up and running. There will be delays, but that's probably the extent of it.
Yeah.
And it looks like Rob had the next question. Are too many keywords in a campaign bad? A few keywords are eating up the daily budget and the others are not getting impressions. So my rule of thumb when it comes to PPC, now remember PPC, the interesting thing about PPC is that there's several ways to approach it and all would end up with the same outcome. Some people may say that use more, more is better, but for me, it's less is best. I like to use some very broad keywords initially, keeping it manageable, because if you start putting in hundreds of keywords into a campaign, you could imagine that your budget does have to go through and seek out, it kind of has to spread it out, and you're spreading yourself thin through those keywords. So I find my main keywords, the ones that really I want to hone in on, and then kind of allow Amazon to do its thing, and keeping it broad and using broad and phrase match type of objectives. And then it will give me the answers of what would be a good exact match keyword to use for an exact match campaign. So that's why using less is best, because one, it's easier to manage. You don't have to go in there and adjust the bids to hundreds of keywords. And then two, I kind of allow Amazon to do the heavy lifting to find the exact match keywords. But they do have to be very laser targeted keywords that identify my product. And that's the methodology I use.
All right. Rob said, if I rank organically for keywords in the 30 to 50 spot, should I raise my PPC bids to get on page 1? Organic ranks around 30 to 50 are very rarely going to get seen by a customer. The percent of traffic that goes to the second page is very low. So for if those keywords are really important for you, and especially if you can sell them at a profit, or you can get clicks at a profitable amount, then those are good candidates to bid on with PPC.
Okay, Max asks, my product does not have the add to cart button. Instead, it has see all buying options, and I am listed in the offers. People usually do not go there. I do not have a private label product yet, but I am the one who created the listing. I am the only one on the listing. I also tried to lower the price by even $1, and it did not help. Can you please help with that?
Max, I would ask if it's an FBA or FBM, because if you're doing FBM and you don't have any seller feedback yet, sometimes Amazon won't show your product to the customer. But the only time I've really heard of that happening with FBA is if Amazon thinks that the price that you're charging is like unfair for the customer. If that happens, then I have seen them kind of suppress it from the listing. And at that point, you just kind of have to lower it.
All right. Rob, it looks like Rob sent some product ideas, Greg. I don't know, to your inbox. I don't know if you're able to locate them. He wants to see if you could look them over and give any thoughts on it.
Yeah, let me see what I can do. My Facebook Messenger is always so buggy. For whatever reason, I don't get a lot of them, but I'll try. I'll try to look at those while you take the next question.
Yeah, I'll see here. It looks like, okay, so we got, I'm glad that helped, Hallie. Rob has the follow-up question there. I created an Amazon store for my brand. Do you have any tips to optimize it? One of the main things about a store is going to be your images. I think that how you organize the store and the images are going to be the ones to catch the attention there, as well as your copy. We don't know for sure if with stores or with if they're being optimized, if they're taking the keywords and using them, much like in the A+ content, some of those keywords you don't know if Amazon is using them, but it's better to be safe and sorry. Amazon's always updating, it's always changing. So I would focus still on my keywords, making my copy, use copy versus images. It's always best. A lot of times people tend to, when they're even with A+ content, they tend to use images that have the text on the image. I like to use headlines and then an image and a description, and now my keywords are inside of my A+ listing. Very much the same case with the Amazon store. We don't, like I said, there's no facts that say that Amazon even ranks that, but Amazon's constantly changing. You never know, they might in the future. So it's just best to plan ahead.
Cool. Rob, I'm sorry. I think what happens with my I have like 100,000 unread Facebook messages, and I think what happens is like Facebook just stops delivering them because I just got so many and I don't read them or can't read all of them. So, because I just looked through and I don't see any from you. I'm sorry. You can try sending it again right now.
Okay, so Rama asks, Greg, I know you talked about how it's better to search. Let's see, lost the page. I don't know what happened to my page. Let me pull it up. It just kind of went away. My Facebook page. Let me double.
Let's see.
Rama was the one with the next.
Rob said, okay. I created an Amazon store for my brand. Do you have any tips around optimizing it? To be honest with you, you're not going to get a lot of traffic to your store unless you drive like the brand ads there or something like that. So honestly, I wouldn't worry too much about like making sure it's well optimized. I don't know if I really have any tips around that. Rolando, do you have any tips around optimizing store content?
Yeah, that's just kind of tying in how like try to use copy directly, like on titles and descriptions, as well as just really comes down to your images. You're going to drive traffic to your store externally, as well as people may click if they find your product and they want to see what other products you sell. But the idea is that yes, people will not land directly at your store unless you're driving external traffic. The idea is that all your products are in one place, and it's very well laid out. People can see more related products from your store, and I guess the key thing here is building out your brand on a storefront. It's a very different game from, being able to come up in search. People are not normally going to search you as a vendor unless they're really happy with the product and they want to reorder. They may look at the brand name and type in your brand name, but it's always going to come down to external traffic that you're driving to your store, or people just kind of going a little step further. But if you think about it, when you shop on Amazon, what's your habit? You're typically just using the main search field. You're typing in a product that you're looking for, and you're kind of just dissecting the different, looking at the different options you have based on the reviews, based on maybe the images, the main image, and then you might strike curiosity to go into the store and then kind of go that next level deeper to the seller. But that's very rare. So that's why I say it's more external traffic that you're going to be driving to your store.
Rama said, I know you talked about how it's better to search for suppliers in Jungle Scout, but if you're not able to find a supplier through your competitors, can you only base a search on Alibaba? Yeah, that's absolutely fine. That's what we all did before Jungle Scout released the supplier database. It's still an effective way to find suppliers. What I would recommend, though, is inside of the supplier database, I can actually show you this again, but you can search for the actual supplier. So let me show you this. So one of like the more risky things about ordering on Alibaba is the fact that it's hard to vet the suppliers or like know how legit they are. So I used the Marshmallow Sticks example earlier, so let's do that now. All right, then what I can do is I can search for this particular supplier or factory to see if they've imported into the US before. So I can search right there. And it looks like this is them. It looks like there's maybe a few different spellings of their particular store. But then what I can see is, so they have shipped into the US before. What's also kind of interesting is I can see who their customers are. And what a lot of times you can do is then take this back onto Amazon and see what kind of reviews they get. So it looks like it's this one, Perfect Sticks. And I can actually then go look. So it's like, okay, they got 4.5 stars. I can also see, oh, excuse me, what other kinds of products Perfect Sticks is selling and what kind of reviews they get. So, right here, it's like, okay, 4.5 stars for that. So this is like a good way to vet a factory because you can see what kind of reviews do the actual products get that are made by that factory. And then you can also see what's their shipment history. So it's like, all right, I know they've been around since September of 2014. That would make me feel a little bit better that they like are a legit company. Yeah, you can see how often they ship, who their customers are. So there's just like a good way to actually vet the factories that you find on Alibaba.
All right.
What's the next one, Rolando?
Looks like the next one. That was
looks like this one, Asha.
Yeah.
Do you rely on your supplier to coordinate shipping, or do you do it yourself? If so, how? This is a follow-up to my earlier question about the shipping being more expensive than the product that I am buying. I would recommend checking out the shipping module inside of the Freedom Builder Bootcamp because we go over this in quite a bit of detail. And the short answer to this is I would recommend that that you use a freight forwarder, and the freight forwarder is the one that actually coordinates the shipment. The exception to this is like if you're just sending some boxes through like DHL or FedEx or whatever else, it's fine to just work directly with your factory. And oftentimes they even get better rates than what you do. But the majority of the time, it's going to be better to work with your own freight forwarder.
All right. Next question comes from Rob, and this is interesting. He's saying he's super excited and grateful for the FBB group. Thank you, Rob. We are as well. We're so excited to see you guys in here. Sales are doing well so far, and I'm ready to put in another order with my supplier.
Nice job.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I asked for a quote that's twice the quantity from the original order, but it's only 10 cents cheaper. Any advice on how to get the price lower?
Some that oftentimes work is like, what you can do is you can say, if you were able to offer this to me for cheaper, I would be able to sell more volume, because right now, like, I'm priced higher than my competitors, or people are complaining that I'm priced too high. So it's like, it's a way to say, like, let me help you. You know, like, if you can give this to me for 50 cents cheaper instead, or a dollar cheaper, I could sell it for cheaper. The result of that is I'm making more sales, I'm buying more from you, and it's kind of like a win-win. Sometimes that works. Alternatively, most of these factories are pretty interested in kind of like long-term business relationships. They realize that. So something else that sometimes works is just like, okay, this is fine this time, but for the next order, if I order the same amount, like, can I have it for 50 cents cheaper? Because like, that's ultimately the price I need to make it work out. But like, I want to work on this business relationship with you. So you could try saying some things like that.
All right. So the next question comes from Max. And Max is asking, I hired a lawyer to get a trademark based on use. They came back to me saying that they did not find my product in the USPTO manual, and I am subject to an additional fee. I feel like they're just trying to upsell me because there are lots of trademark competitors listings, which means my products should be on the system. Can you please explain what is that resource for?
I don't know for sure what you mean by they can't find your product in the manual. Maybe this means they couldn't figure out which class of goods it is. If so, like, you could kind of, it doesn't really matter that much. So you could kind of just do the research yourself and just tell them. But I guess to answer better than that, I would need more specifics about what they're talking about when they say they couldn't find your product in the manual.
All right. And Rob, resent the product ideas and sent it to Rolando. Okay, so I'll look in my messenger if you want to take the next question. Let me just see if I could locate these products.
Sure. Rama said, I did that, but what if I haven't shipped before? So I mean, essentially in this situation, you are taking on more risk because it's essentially kind of like an unproven factory. That being said, there's a good chance that it's a perfectly legit factory and there's nothing to worry about, but it also does like increase the chance of either them being like a scam, you know, who knows. It also increases the risk of them delivering on a lower quality product. So it's kind of like, a way you can think about it is, you know, like buying a car that is a brand new model and doesn't have any reviews out, or like no one's really tested it or anything like that. Like, the car might be perfectly fine, but like, it makes me feel better if I buy a car that's been out for a couple of years and there's a whole bunch of reviews on the internet and like they figured out what was breaking and stuff like that. So it's like, it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, but just understand that like you're taking on more risk, and help that factor in whether or not you want to work with them.
All right, Rob, it looks like I was able to pull up the products, but if you want to take the next question, I'm just going to look through them real quick. And
all right. Hey, let's say, when are you guys going to be able to join us online? We are online. We're here with you. We're joining you online. My launch PPC ACoS is over 100%. I've done the optimization strategy. Any tips to lower the ACoS? Rob, it's essentially just like kind of just like a grind. Like, you just have to continue to optimize. So you want to make sure to move your keywords from your automatic campaigns into manual campaigns. In manual campaigns is where you'll get your lower cost sales. After that, it really is just like, it literally takes like a few months to do it well, because like you have to wait for more sales to come in. You have to see which ones are profitable, which ones aren't, optimize from there. So it's like, you kind of just continue down the optimization process. The ones that were the ACoS is too high, you reduce the bid a little bit. The ones that are doing really well, you can even increase the bid to try to get more sales, or try to get more impressions through that one. So there's no real like, I don't think there's any real like secret hacks here. It's just like grinding out the optimization week after week. We have about 10 minutes left, so make sure you drop any last questions you have in the chat box. so that yeah, Londo and I can help you out.
All right. I got some feedback for you, Rob, on the, from what I can see, there was 3 products that you sent. So let me know in the chat box if that's correct. And 2 of the 3 products, one of my hesitations is that there's components to it that could break easily. So the potential of returns and damaged product is higher. And so one of the things that we talk about is to make sure it's a simple product that doesn't have many moving parts, and especially trying to stay away from electronics, because it can like I said, there could be more of a higher defect rate. The other product, the one remaining product that doesn't have that issue, what I can foresee is it looks like a good product. What I would do is just dig deeper as to how you can source it, really hone in on the numbers, because I'm noticing your net return may not be as good as you would want it to be. So just really hone in on those numbers. Make sure that you're profitable. We're always saying that you have at least 100% profit, because from there, you're going to have PPC and other things, other costs that will be incurred. In addition to that, what's your key differentiator? How are you going to stand out from the competition? But I would say that would be my feedback on those 3 products.
Let's see. How long does it take for Amazon to store the goods? I think what you mean by that, Rob, is like how long does it take for them to like unload it at their warehouse? On average, only a couple days, but since there is a lot of since their warehouses are just crazy right now, I think a lot of the times it's longer, but I think it's a little bit kind of hit or miss because they have so many different warehouses. Different warehouses are like backed up at different level type things. So, but like at a normal non-COVID weirdness life, only a couple of days, unless it's around Black Friday or Christmas.
All right.
Max said, following up on the question about the lawyer, they said they can't find it inside of the public list. Yeah, I mean, Max, if you want, like, I don't know if a lawyer is going to do this or not, but what you could do is just like, you could try to find it for him and you could recommend, say like, hey, it's this product type.
And is this a reputable lawyer? Have you kind of dug into, like, is this their expertise? Is trademarks? And definitely that would be my if you're not already too invested into it, maybe the possibility that they're just not really familiar with this whole process, because there are lawyers that specialize in this, and I think that if they're running into this type of hurdle, but what I'm wondering is, you're saying that they can't find your product. You're trying to trademark. Are you trying to trademark your brand, or are you trying to patent a product? So, I mean, I don't know, Greg, if that.
Yeah, no, they still, yeah, when you're doing trademarks, you file for a certain class. So I think that is right. Like it's, like the class would be kitchen accessory or like cooking utensils or whatever else. There's like stuff like that, because the goal of the trademark is so that like other people can't deceive customers into thinking that it's like the same brand. So like if you're selling kitchen utensils under brand name A, but there's also someone selling electronics under brand name A, they will allow that sometimes because it's like different types of products or different product classes.
All right. And Rama has the next question. Is it ever okay to use the pictures from the supplier on your listing? Absolutely not. I would discourage that. 9 times out of 10, they're not quality photos, and also they're usually taking their photos from Amazon listings, which is a definite copyright violation. So I would just say stick to your own photos. If in the meantime you have to do it yourself, with just, the camera on your mobile device, or if you have a better quality camera, then go that route. And then down the road, improve them. But I would never use a supplier's photos.
Agreed. If they actually took them yourselves and they give you the rights to use them, legally or technically you could, but all of Rolando's points there are right. Like, I wouldn't really recommend it.
Okay. And then Rob asks, if I place my bid below the suggested bid, will my ad still show?
Sometimes. Yeah, like those you have to take the suggested bids kind of like with a grain of salt, because they Amazon's just like using probably previous data to try to gauge what people are going to be bidding for that search term with. But I know like during Q4 when PPC costs are elevated, those suggested bids are usually too low. Alternatively, sometimes people run out of budget like midday, and then you can get them for cheaper. So yeah, like feel free to still go into the suggested bid. Amazon's just saying that's probably what it'll take in order to get a bunch of impressions.
Okay, next question. And I apologize if like I murder names. The Moishanet asks, I just joined FBB about a week ago. Very informative, and I appreciate how helpful you guys are. Wondering how often do you do the FB live? Right now it's once a month. And so yeah, definitely whenever the schedule or the next schedule event occurs, I'll post it in the Facebook group, as well as an email is sent out. So the neat thing is, if since you're all here live, you want to click on the button that says set reminder, and so you'll have a constant like counting down to when the next Facebook group live event will happen. And yeah, and then in the announcements, I would constantly check the announcements in the membership site. Any new content that comes out will be posted there. Whenever there's new content or a Facebook Live or any type of change to the course, there will be an email that will be generated. 9 times out of 10, there'll be a Facebook post as well. And then in addition to that, it'll remain in the announcements section of your course. While I'm at that, one other recommendation that I would make is to download the Kajabi app. If you go to your app store and just type in Kajabi, you'll find an application that will you'll be able to mobilely see your content, but it'll also send you notifications through there as well whenever something happens. So yeah, so as long as your notifications are on.
All right. We got to wrap it up in 2 or 3 minutes. So I'm just going to do a speed round to answer these last ones. How are your own private label FBA businesses doing? Mine's going well. My wife's is going really well. She sells a whole bunch of ergonomic furniture for like home offices and stuff. So her sales are through the roof. She's actually out of a stock of a whole bunch of stuff because she's already hit her 2020 revenue goals, and it's only April, which is crazy. So those sales are really good. So I'm happy for her. Let's see, Max, Amazon IP Accelerate, they should be legit. I guess Max also asked, let's see, Rob said, what's a good target ACOS? It would be below your profit margin. So if your profit margin is 33%, hopefully your target ACOS should be less than 30%. Max is following up on the FBM. He's doing FBM, 1 5-star seller feedback. Would it help if you trademark the product? I don't think that helps you win the buy box. You could try to run some PPC to it to help get more sales, but they're not going to convert actually, no, they won't even show PPC if you don't have the buy box. The best thing to do is try to get some of them into FBA so that Amazon will start showing the buy box, and then it can help you get additional, because you can still get seller feedback when you do FBA.
And just to add to that with the seller feedback, since it's different, it's separate from like a product review. You always want to monitor that, because if it's ever not related, like if it's related to the product, or if it's related to anything aside from the seller, you can actually have them removed. And because sometimes people will go in there and since it's not even your product, they might say, hey, the product came, or the product doesn't work, it's not effective, blah, blah, blah. Well, if you go in there and you monitor it, and you go under, let's say that you're on your home page, and you just click under where it says, I always come through here and why am I, they moved it around, I believe, here. There's a new layout that introduced here, so I'm just trying to find
While you look at that, I'll just answer Jay real quick. What's the easiest way to tell how many sales each day were from ad campaigns versus organic? Since you all have access to Jungle Scout, that's the easiest way to do it. The analytics in Seller Central kind of suck. To do it, you can go into Profit Overview and then click on PPC, and I can see PPC sales, and I can see organic sales. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, still looking for that. And I can't believe it. Looks like they just recently made an update. They're constantly changing their user interface, and some people will have access to the new interface, and others will be a little delayed. The rollouts are just very sketchy when it comes to Amazon. So don't be surprised if one person has access to one thing and then the other doesn't.
Right. All right. Well, maybe you can leave it in a response below the video, Rolando.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Cool.
I'll put a screen capture and show where to go and how to make sure that your reviews aren't that the seller reviews aren't affecting you adversely.
All right. And Asha, last one, said, this has been so helpful. I literally just got started with this, and it's as a business concept. Thank you so much for doing this. I have totally less anxiety knowing I have access to you group and this. All right. Thank you so much, Asha, for the kind words. Thank you all very much for joining the coaching call. And Rolando, thank you, man. It's been fun.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
I'm looking forward to seeing you all next time. In the meantime, we'll chat with you in the Facebook group. Adios.